In de middeleeuwen streden de kruisvaarders en moslims om het heilige land. En specifiek om Jeruzalem. Een van deze grote veldslagen was de slag bij Hattin.
In 1187, a ferocious battle took place here between the Crusaders and the Muslim forces under the direction of Salah ad-Din, also known as Saladin. What happened was that the Crusader forces were making their way towards Tiberias. They set out from a place called Sephuri in the west. They were making their way in this direction. They'd reached a point where they could see the Sea of Galilee, and then all hell broke loose. There were a number of strategic problems here and also mistakes which were made by those who were in command of the Crusader forces. The main thing was they ran out of water. So here they were here at the battlefield. They didn't have much water, they were hot, they were tired, they wanted to gain ground and descend towards the Sea of Galilee. And then the Muslim defenders who were at the horns of Hattin, with Saladin up there on the peak, commanded his forces. They descended upon the Crusaders. Intentional fires were set in order to make things more difficult, and the Crusaders were decimated. They were killed completely, except for one or two who were taken prisoner. And what was most terrible to the Christians at the time, to the Crusaders, was the loss of the holy relic of the cross of Jesus.
It is the land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the birthplace of Jesus. From Genesis to Revelation, Israel is the centerpiece of God's story, a saga that continues to unfold in our daily news. But behind the headlines are the people caught in the crosshairs of some really complex issues. It can be hard to see clearly from the outside, so let's explore my homeland from within. Shalom is the Hebrew word for peace. It is the standard greeting in Israel. Yet for the rest of the world, this small nation is a major point of contention. In this episode, we examine the concept of peace in the Middle East.
All countries in the Middle East talk about peace. Salam alaikum. You greet people with the peace of God upon them. Here we say shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom when we greet somebody, shalom when we say goodbye to somebody. You pray and hope for peace all the time. But here in this region, we have seen one of the most profound anti-peace societies, talking of the whole of the Middle East. And a lot of it is against Israel. Israel, it is not just a place of holy sites. It is a place which is one of the most intellectually articulate and active countries in the world. If there's a problem, Israel can sort it out. There is David's citadel, This is a land where things which we take for granted, like the CAT scanner, was invented here. This is a land which has one of the most developed cardiac, surgical and transplant programs in the world. If they can't do it here, they can't do it anywhere. Israel says it's the only democracy in the Middle East. It's one of the only democracies in the world. Well, considering I've got MS and I'm supposed to be terminally ill, I'm doing very well. It's not just a democracy, it's almost anarchy. Because anybody can get their foot into the Knesset. Small parties, they all have a say. Religion in the Middle East is fundamentally different to Western perception of it. Here, religion and politics can't be separated. Jerusalem, the religious capital of the world, the homeland to the three monotheistic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And yet, as you look around the Middle East, you realize that there is never really a separation between religion and politics. One of the fundamental difficulties that the Americans had when they came into Iraq, and I was there and very much involved in the process leading towards that, was they had no concept of the role of religion in Middle Eastern affairs. They kept talking about, oh, we believe in a separation of church and state, separation of religion and politics, whilst in reality, religion and state are more connected to America than almost any other country. You can see how every nation needs religious leadership. In Judaism, we say we're looking for the Messianic age, that one day the Mashiach will come, that he will come firstly as Mashiach ben Yosef, the servant Messiah, and then he will come as Mashiach ben David, the kingly Messiah. And so even in Judaism, you have a certain messianic hope. In Christianity, you have that same messianic hope. We call it the second coming. And in Islam, you have the hope of the coming of the 12th Imam, who is called Mahdi. So with all three communities, there is a messianic hope. Because I'm very much part of Israel and Iraq, I thought it'd be great to try and get a meeting together of Iraqis and Israelis. And at first nobody wanted to do it. They all hated each other. But eventually we did manage to bring them together for 3 days. After 3 days, I asked them, well, what has happened? One of the chief rabbis said, I've been here for 3 days and I've got 3 words to say. Fear is cancelled. One of the Ayatollahs said, I came here hating you Jews. I came here, I heard your story, I looked into your eyes, and you've become my friends. They're in close proximity, but they never know each other. You know, how many people from the west of Jerusalem here really know the people in Bethlehem or Ramah? They live in closed-off worlds amongst their own people. And yet, if they were to meet the other, they could love the other. I would state, first and foremost, we have got to love both Jew and Arab. So often people think I'm on this side or I'm on that side, and that is a devastating thing. We must begin to think about reaching out. Wherever we are, think, who is my supposed enemy here? Why are the Muslims seen like this? How can I reach out to them? And I say, when we meet, we must eat. There's always hospitality shown to us by the Muslim community. Whenever I go and see the Ayatollah in Baghdad, he always cooks a whole sheep for me, which is a bit difficult when you're a vegetarian and you don't eat much anyway, but there it goes. I was down by the Jordan River, where there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of mines from the 1967 war. There are 7 churches in these minefields. Obviously, nobody can go to them. Peace involves putting an end to the pain of the past, the demining, but it also has to be active. We have to work towards trying to get a peaceful situation. When religion goes wrong, it goes very wrong. And religion has become a weapon. And religion has become a means of hate, not of peace. And I have never forgotten the tragedy of the Christian attitude towards the Jewish people. And I have never stopped my fight of trying to look for a better way. Hostility, war, fracture, hatred. The opposite of peace is everything that causes division and breaks relationships. Peace is about restoration, wholeness, healing, and reconciliation. Peace is going to come to the land of the Holy One? No. I think there will always be opposition. But we have got to keep working for the peace of Jerusalem. May they that love her prosper. Yes, we can clear out the mines which could kill people, but we need something to look forward to the future.
The Apostle Paul said in Hebrews 12:14, "Make every effort to live in peace with everyone." He continually encouraged believers to pursue peace and show love to their enemies. This is still the mandate of God's people today. For just as Jesus told his followers, "They will know you are my disciples by your love for one another."
Gates open. Yuda!
How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah.
Long time no see.
No, how's the holiday?
It's going good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have a nice sukkah?
The notion of taking different societies, different mentalities, and different cultures and trying to separate them with a document that's been engineered in an air-conditioned conference room somewhere else on planet Earth is not going to work here. What's going to work here is from the ground up. Anything new going on here?
Yeah, everything is doing well. We have a lot of work.
The term settlement is often used as a derogatory term to describe the Israeli communities east of the Green Line in what the Israeli communities refer to themselves as Judea, Samaria, the heritage names of this region. Much of the world calls it the West Bank. When looking at this region from the outside in, people tend to see things through a conflict lens. They're looking at things, they're seeing conflict, they're looking for conflict, they're even feeding the fire. We go about our daily lives living normally, kids go to school, adults go to work. That's true both for Israelis and for Palestinians. So for us, it's not a conflict paradigm, it's a neighbor paradigm.
85% local market and around 15 to 20% export. Like this. But
the Palestinian Authority tried to forbid Palestinians from working in any of the industrial parks here.
we have around 100 employees, 40 of them Israeli, 60 of them Palestinian. We can find Israeli and Palestinian in a management position or a simple worker, all of them. Israeli and Palestinian is dependent on the Israeli law. All the social condition and salary condition is dependent on the Israeli law. There is no difference between the people who are working here, same salaries, and we have a wonderful time, and we send the people this year to Aqaba for 3 days vacation.
The outside observer wants to put up these artificial walls here. They want to separate populations. They want everything to kind of fit into these neat little boxes, and they suggest all kinds of solutions or political solutions to move them in that direction. They're trying to institutionalize this separation. The more that separation has taken hold, the less people have been able to have normal, organic interactions with one another. The spaces, the opportunity for overlap has been more limited. We'd like to see things moving in the other direction.
This is Shimon. It's one of the oldest employees that I have in my company, and he worked hand by hand with the Palestinian, and it's great for me, and great for them, and great for all of us. This guy is he's Palestinian, from Hares. All of us like a big family. And I think you can get this relationship just in a place that we are working together. And our mission is to bring the company for the best result. And this is my target. And all of the workers doing the best to get the best result. Because they know we have one big plate, all of us eating from this plate. And if we will success, they're getting more, I getting more, and all of us living in a wonderful time. I'm because of him. All the workers working with me, the company success because of them, not because of me. Shimon is 73 years old, and I give him opportunity to continue working until he will say, Judah, it's enough for me. But I give him a nice car, I respect him a lot, and he's doing a wonderful job for me. What can I say? People with me can work until the day that they say enough. We're doing well, and I am happy, they are happy, and all of us. This is a hope, right? This is a hope between Israel and Palestinian. More and more places that they can work together, live together, and know each other, and bring the peace from the bottom. This is what we are doing. We are not politics. We are not speaking. We're just working and doing a good connection between people. This is the hope of the Middle East. Israeli and Palestinian, or Arabs and Israeli, who found a place to work together, to live together, and to find a way how to live and by peace. Here you can see.
I don't know a single person who doesn't want to live in peace. But I also know too many politicians who use peace as a tagline for all sorts of other things. They're trying to advance a particular agenda. They know their end game, and the process isn't really all that relevant to them.
I want to take you to the management room.
When you speak about economic mutual interests or mutual investment, you speak about health interests. Everybody needs to be healthy. It doesn't matter about the governments anymore. It doesn't matter about the politicians or would-be solution makers. It matters about the real people on the ground level.
We just speak about our life. And this is, what you can see here is the days that we know how to take a day off. This is Lipsky. This is Israeli and Palestinian together who know how to enjoy and to live together. And this is from you see, just 2 months ago, I took them to Aqaba.
We're trying to create a situation where at the Ariel Industrial Park, we can have not only Palestinian employees, but also Palestinian factory owners as well. We're trying to create a new entrepreneurship accelerator, which will have joint Israeli and Palestinian teams working, coming up not only with the next business solutions for the future, but the next social action programs for the future as well.
Dive there, I swim. It's just, you can see me here, and some of them are dived. And look at us. I think this is, first of all, Aqaba is a beautiful place. And second, the people going because of the company to enjoy with their women, and all of us doing the best to live well, and all of that we can get just because we have industrial area where Palestinian and Israeli are working together. And we should increase this idea, and maybe, as I said, the peace will come from the people and not from the leaders, because the leaders don't want to do peace.
I can't tell you what the magic solution is, because I don't believe there's a magic solution. I believe that anyone who tells you that they know exactly what needs to be done doesn't know what needs to be done. We just know that it has to happen organically to the real human beings living here. Peace is inevitable. Peace is going to unfold, but it's going to happen not through a political process, but from a human process.
Psalm 29:11 says, "The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace." Peace is more than just the external result of unity. Peace, shalom, is the internal strength that continues to carry God's people through seasons of persecution, conflict, and danger, freeing the prisoners of fear and breaking the cycle of hate.
I started as an assistant pastor in Gaza Baptist Church. About 1.5 million people living in Gaza. Among all of them, 3,000 Christians living as a minority in Gaza. There is a kind of peace between Palestinian Muslim and Palestinian Christian, but when radical Islam came and people become more close-minded, they thought that this is our right, so you don't have rights. They start to be more extreme, thinking that this is what their God wants them to be, not in living in peace with Christian, to make a pressure over the Christian, like you should believe in Islam. They speak to you about Islam and you're not able to say, I don't want to be. It wasn't before like this. It wasn't before like this. I love Gaza a lot. I was praying for Gaza a lot. I was interceding for Gaza a lot. I was praying for his people a lot. I was convincing people to stay in Gaza rather than to go out of that. Even I will go. I thought I will go and return back. If you live in Gaza, you live in kind of folklore. When you feel you are a minority, you could give up to ask for your rights. You try to compromise with everything, with your faith even, in order to live in the area. And this will make you in a slave mentality, like it will let you feel like you are down and you are nothing. I was making disciples for couples in the church, and one of them, his name is Rami. I start to see him more frightened. He was in his office as a Bible Society in Gaza, and somebody told him, "Do you believe in the Prophet Muhammad?" He said, "I don't believe actually. This is not written in my book." And then he said, "I will show you how to believe." Like he threatened Rami. He was walking with his wife and felt like somebody following him. So he was frightened when he come in group. Next day, he was kidnapped. When he was kidnapped, he called us so that he will come back. And he called his wife, he told her the same. At 3 a.m., he was killed. I went to the hospital quickly and go to the morgue. I was the first one get in. I was walking in the blood and I was like looking and I saw him, and he was the first martyr actually in Gaza for Christian. How much I live in this area, how much I serve this area, how much I love those people, how much I prayed for the people. Like something broke in my heart because of this situation. I'm tempted to be pressure against Muslim, against Jewish, against people, against everyone. Conditionally, they are not worth to be loved. Like, they are not worth to be greeting. If your heart not pure, you will not be able to live freely with God. I will still think about them. I will be a prisoner under thinking victim mentality. He still loved them. How I could hate them. Why I just take one step, one thing and say like, Lord, why? Because I don't see, I saw a piece of puzzle. I don't see all the puzzle. I don't see all the picture. I should go step in trusting Him and trust His love. His love not according to situation. His love not according to the pressure around me. The Lord was doing process with me. Even the hard people, He loved them. He's not happy of killing them. He loved to return them back. This changed my heart to Muslim actually. He said, do you think that I'm happy that if they perish or they kill? I'm more happy if they return back to me. And now establishing a new ministry in Bethlehem. Beit Sahur, it's part of Bethlehem. Beit Sahur means light to come. I start to think of people by grace. I start to think about Muslim by grace. Think about Jewish by grace. I start to see them by the heart of the Father. That He loved them and He wanted them to be in His community, in His kingdom. My family name is Huri, means priest. From my family line came about 34 Orthodox priests. Maybe I break the line, but it's the first pastor in this family, but I believe the Lord blessed the inheritance of faith. The Lord, He said, my peace I give is different than the peace of the world. And His peace coming through trusting Him. How much we love Him, we trust Him, how much peace come in.
Our world is full of conflict. We have warring nations, ideologies, governments, and people groups. Most days, peace seems out of our reach, especially here in the Middle East. But in reality, this land is the birthplace of peace. When Jesus was born, the heavens invaded the earth with a resounding sound of shalom. Peace on earth, the angels declared the night Christ was born. The Bible calls Him the Prince of Peace, and according to the prophet Isaiah, the government rests on His shoulder. This is still true today. Jesus Christ came into our troubled world, and He overcame it, so that shalom might echo in our hearts here on earth and for all eternity. I leave you with a psalm penned by King David, a blessing over the city and indeed a prayer for Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper who love you. May peace be within your walls, and prosperity within your palaces. For the sake of my brothers and friends, I will now say, may peace be within you. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good.
Thank you for watching Why Israel Matters. For more information about Israel and why it matters to you and your family, visit cidisrael.org/free gift to receive this brand new book, absolutely free. Deepen your faith and look past the news headlines to discover the land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob like never before. Order your free copy today. Visit cidisrael.org/free gift. That's cidisrael.org/free gift.
One of the most common cetaceans, the pantropical spotted dolphin, is usually found in waters warmer than 22 Celsius. Conditions here in the Bahamas are perfect for them, and this mother is teaching her young some vital lessons. Dolphins are highly intelligent, so schooling should run smoothly. Learning the basics like how to swim directly down or quickly change direction can be a lot of fun. Other female dolphins, known as aunties, which may not be related to the mother's calf, will also take the responsibility of teaching young dolphins how to survive. Calves nurse from 11 months to 2 years old. After that, it'll stay with its mother until it's between 3 and 8 years old. The degree of dots determines the age of the spotted dolphin. It's one of the only cetaceans that completely changes its colour pattern from newborn, with 5 different changes along the way to adulthood. Dolphins eat small fish, squid and crustaceans, and by using sound or echolocation, dolphins can find food even when it's completely buried in the sand. The short and repetitive clicks, estimated at less than 1 millisecond in duration, can also temporarily stun a fish, allowing the dolphin to grasp it easily. So far, school is going well. It's lots of fun. But oh dear, perhaps a little too much fun has been had. Perhaps not enough concentration applied, and this dolphin is in trouble. Like detention, its mother is demanding it follow her to the seabed, where it will be reprimanded. If the discipline needs to be very strict, the mother will zap it with the same technique she uses to find the fish. This will certainly let the youngster know it's crossed a line. It's not painful, not even that uncomfortable, but it's definitely not much fun. But now that's sorted, it's back to the way things were. The mother safe in the knowledge that her young dolphin is learning and is just that little bit wiser.
En ik geloof dat dat absoluut waar is.